Hi! I'm going to go over some of the myths and facts of introverts because I myself am very introverted. So I'm just kind of going to go over the myths and facts and hopefully give you guys some information on it so you can know if you're an introvert or not. So introverts and extroverts are a big part of your personality, and I believe that if you can kind of understand your personality, you get a better feeling for yourself and what might work for you. So, yeah, if you have questions about introversion, I thought I would tell you some. Or tell you some answers. Myth. Introverts don't like to talk. Truth. Introverts don't like to talk unless they have something to say. They hate small talk. Get an introvert talking about something they really like and they won't shut up for days. Myth. Introverts are shy. Shyness has nothing to do with it, and when you really think about it, shyness kind of conflicts with itself, because if you don't like to go out and talk to people, you're not shy. That's, antisocial kind of. But if you like to go out and talk to people, but you're too scared to make the first, move, that's not shy. That's more like a personality disorder where you have trust issues or something like that. Shyness doesn't even seem to exist when you really, really think about it. Myth. Introverts are rude. If you really want to go up and talk to an introvert, you don't have to be polite necessarily. Just go up and start talking to them and they'll be much more interested. Go on lines before, behind me. If you're talking to me, I'm just like, oh my gosh, what the heck? If you're gonna spend all this time talking, then just go to a freaking club or something. Let me buy my carton of milk and get out of here. Anyway, myth. Introverts don't like people. Introverts don't have a reason to beat around the bush. With, social pleasantries, it's kind of silly. If you're gonna have to filter everything you say, then you're filtering yourself. They want everyone to just be real and be themselves and just be mellow and humble and whatnot. Myth. Introverts don't like to go out in public. Introverts don't like to go out in public for as long. Also, hanging around people too much and having to watch exactly what you say and everything is quite exhausting. And introverts can't be around people for too long necessarily. Can't do super exhilarating things for a while that take a bunch of energy, because you get tired and you have to go home and recharge and sit in your room and just read a book and be by yourself. They like to have a schedule and have things that aren't going to cause some crazy mishap that's going to postpone the time between going somewhere and getting home. I don't want to go somewhere, you're like, oh hey, let's go see a movie. Okay, let's, we'll go watch it. And then you get to the movie theater and they're like, okay, let's see this movie. And you're like, okay, we have to wait here for 30 minutes. What? No, I'm not doing that. You should have picked out the movie beforehand and told me to come here 30 minutes later. Myth. Introverts always want to be alone. Introverts really value the friends they have. Myth. Introverts are aloof nerds. Introverts' worlds inside their mind are much more interesting and fascinating to them than things that are going on around them in, say, a mall environment. So when they like to sit down and read a book, even though you're in public, it's why are you reading a book in public? Go home and do that when you're in public. Sit here and not sit here, stand up and jump around and have fun and whatever. But they like to sit there and read, and it's not because they're nerds. They like learning. They find it much more stimulating and interesting than hearing you talk about what went on I don't know, the Grammys or whatever. When you read up on a celebrity and you're like, oh, this is cool, I like to know about this. We read up on chemistry and we're like, oh, that's how that works. That's amazing. It's the same thing, just a different topic. So it doesn't make us a nerd any more than it makes you. Myth. Introverts don't know how to relax and have fun. To relax, as an introvert, you like to be alone, a lot of times in nature, a really calming environment. And have you ever heard of shopping therapy? Where you go out and you buy stuff because you had a tough week? That's not what introverts do. They like to just sit there and actually do the literal meaning of relax. Just sit there and be calm. Myth. Introverts are weird. Most introverts, you can kind of tell sometimes, are hipster or indie or just that sort of type, the vintage kind of thing. but without meaning to. And you may have never met someone like this, I don't know, but when you meet someone like that, you just know that's how they are. They're kind of hipster, but they were the hipster that was hipster before it was cool. Myth. Introverts can fix themselves and become extroverts. Introverts are individualists. They don't just kind of follow what everyone else is doing. What's the point of having a strict schedule and doing what everyone's doing just to be cool when you can be yourself and have more fun? Introverts typically have higher IQs than extroverts. I'm not saying you guys are stupid, you guys are probably more street smart, and that is a true thing when you don't think about it, but it's a real thing. You guys can be street smart, and introverts are more book smart, and there's nothing wrong with that, but without the book smart, there are a lot of things that wouldn't have happened along the street. Without introverts, this world would be crazy, and I'm not being biased. So many scientists were introverts, so many writers and poets, and I'm sure even film directors, and artists, and musical artists, and everything like that, and you don't realize how many people are